National People's Concern. Tenets of Political Bargaining. 2. Uniting the Rwandan people, at home and abroad. 3. Table of Contents. Part 1, the Political Platform 4. Preamble 5. Mission Statement 7. Introduction 8. Basic Needs and Services 12. Democracy 20. The Economy 28. International Relations 33. Safety and Security 36. Conclusion 40. Part 2, the Coalition Agreement 41. Preamble 42. Article 1, the Coalition Agreement 43. Article 2, Organizational Structure 43. Article 3, Decision-Making 44. Article 4, Finances 44. Article 5, Partnership and Membership 45. Article 6, Resources 46. 4. Part 1, the Political Platform. 5. Preamble. Concerned by the political domination of the RPF in Rwanda, and the socio-economic well-being of the Rwandan people, honoring the memory of Rwanda's all too recent and bloody past, cognizant of the history of unilateral rule and the effect it has had on the Rwandan people, determined to ensure that Rwanda remains an open-end, peaceful country committed to principles of non-discrimination, pluralism, and inclusiveness, recognizing that Rwandan problems demand Rwandan solutions, committed to achieving lasting peace and prosperity for all Rwandans, at home and abroad, guided by the universal principles of peace, justice, and human rights, reaffirming Rwandans' shared commitment to democracy, transparency, good governance, and the rule of law, ensuring that any changes to the current political regime are brought about through lawful, peaceful, and political means only, pledging to ensure that all Rwandans hold a meaningful stake in the governance of their country, determined to find a lasting political solution to Rwanda's political crisis. 6. We put forth this coalition agreement for the Rwandan people. 7. Mission Statement. The National People's Concern, NPC, aims to unite Rwandans in restoring meaningful freedom, security, and fundamental human rights to our homeland. NPC is a broad-based political coalition bringing together Rwandans from all sectors to end de facto one-party rule and restore power to the people. NPC seeks to forge a dialogue of genuine reconciliation and healing, grounded in principles of democracy, openness, inclusion, tolerance, and equality. NPC actively seeks members to join our struggle for freedom and self-determination for all Rwandans. 8. Introduction. Rwandans, along with the rest of the world, hoped for a true political and economic transformation to rise from the ashes of genocide. When the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, claimed victory in July 1994, refugees who had supported the war began to repatriate, hoping to cherish the victory that had cost the lives of their family, friends, and countrymen. Genocide. Survivors also remained in order to build a better Rwanda from our genocidal ashes. The prospect of democracy, freedom, and peace drew many to support RPF as they shifted from a military organization to a political one. 20 years later, it is clear that the RPF have failed. Rwandans have lost faith in the current regime, and, increasingly, in government itself. Since 1994, Rwanda has been under de facto one-party rule, overseen by one man, Paul Kagame. President Kagame served as Rwanda's leader from 1994 to 2000, while serving as Vice President and Minister of Defense in Rwanda's post-conflict unity government. In 2000, Mr. Kagame officially took over the presidency when his predecessor, Pastor Bizimungu, resigned. President Kagame has officially held the presidency ever since, most recently winning his second 7-year term with over 93% of the vote. As president, Kagame has overseen a domineering and all-encompassing political and military movement bent on suppressing the diversity of thoughts and opinions that could help Rwanda achieve true success. Instead, RPF has dominated all spheres of our nation, using fear, terror, and suspicion to turn Rwandans against one another. RPF have created enmity among family members and friends, hoping that by positioning us against each other we won't see their failures. But God has seen all that the RPF does: illegal land seizures and assassination campaigns, jailing of opposition leaders, the suffering and divisions created between tribes, and the lack of 9. Trust with our neighbors. RPF has done all of this through an undemocratic process that is the real reason for Rwanda's social and economic insecurity. RPF is a government of one tribe, and of one man. Instead of uniting Rwandans, RPF's divisive ways have prevented refugees from returning to Rwanda. And what Rwanda is there to return to? The skyscrapers of Kigali serve to distract attention from the lack of development in the rural areas. Taxes are applied unfairly and used as another tool in RPF's campaign of coercion and domination. Corruption in employment sectors turns on party and tribe membership rather than merit. RPF must cease its unilateral and domineering ways and surrender Rwanda's power to the original owners, the people of Rwanda. Today, those who question the wisdom of Rwanda's leaders are labeled enemies of the state. Instead of solving Rwanda's political problems, the RPF seek to hold on to power for as long as possible and at whatever cost. The Rwandan people are forced to cling to RPF for survival, hoping against all evidence that their leaders will simply become better. This wait-and-see approach has yielded few results. Political parties have been forcefully integrated into what has been termed a coalition with RPF. Those who have acted independently have been intimidated, arrested, barred from the election process, or otherwise silenced or removed. Rwandans, forever changed by an unspeakable genocide just 2 decades ago, remain fearful that a change in government could not occur peacefully. We are here to say that it can. Today, representatives of Rwanda's 2 largest tribes have met to sign an agreement to open a dialogue, initiate a lasting and true healing process, and provide a framework for a brighter future for all Rwandans. We are issuing a call for everyone from army commanders to day laborers, farmers, to clergymen, politicians to civil society, Kigali residents to displaced refugees to join us in ending the political 10. Economic and social injustice that has enslaved Rwanda for far too long. NPC will partner with the masses to build a democratic society, develop our unique culture, beliefs, and language, and grow a peaceful and secure economy and community in which all people have access to sufficient food, energy, and infrastructure. NPC believes that all Rwandans should have a meaningful say in electing a government of their choice in regular, free, and fair elections in a multi-party democracy. Rwanda should be free from discrimination and allow people to associate freely with the ideas, people, and principles that they choose. And this open society must be protected by an independent judiciary, free from government and party influence. NPC will build together, as a coalition force, to bring holistic change to the quality of life for all Rwandans. NPC will repair the broken relationships between our fragmented ethnic groups. We seek to bring together the warring forces of Rwanda to dialogue, in public debates, to build trust and confidence amongst one another. We must speak freely, without fear or intimidation, to devise a healing methodology of political repair that is supported by Rwanda's diverse population. Together, we can bring about political change and establish an inclusive system of governance that represents and serves the interests of all Rwandans. We, the parties to this agreement, hereby declare our intention to overcome the tribal differences perpetuated by colonialist invaders and divisive Rwandans. Together, we represent the Hutu and Tutsi tribes, and we have opened our doors for the TWA to join us, as well. We have forged this coalition to provide a political solution to Rwanda's political problem of one party rule. We stand for freedom. We stand for democracy. We stand for transparency and openness. We stand for economic and social justice. And we represent those who trust the Rwandan people to make their own political choices in a free, 11. Fair and open election process. For too long, Rwandans have endured dictatorial governments, corruption, visionless leaders, and a gross misuse of our scarce resources. Rwandans have suffered civil and tribal wars, hunger, and disease. It is time to end this degradation. This document articulates the coalition's stance on Rwanda's most pressing issues and lays out a blueprint for bringing meaningful freedom to the Rwandan people. To make this dream a reality, the parties to this document have agreed to work together, in good faith and for common cause, under the banner of the national people's concern. 12. Basic needs and services. Our pledge: the true success of a nation is measured in the quality of life of its people. The NPC pledges to do everything it can to provide all Rwandans with the opportunity to share in our country's wealth, to contribute to its development, and to improve their lives. The fight against poverty requires a coordinated strategy that cuts across all sectors, with particular attention to rural and disadvantaged areas. Economic, social, and cultural rights. NPC shall make the full realization of economic, social, and cultural rights a priority. NPC shall review all national policies to ensure full realization of these rights. Align trade and economic agreements with our international treaty obligations relating to economic, social, and cultural rights. Promote compliance with the principles of corporate social responsibility in the private sector. Involve civil society, interests groups, and other key stakeholders in policy-making consultations to ensure the protection and implementation of economic, social, and cultural rights. Increase the capacity of state institutions to produce disaggregated data to obtain an accurate assessment of economic, social, and cultural rights, publishing annual reports on Rwanda's ability to make these rights more accessible and non-discriminatory. Adopt special measures to protect the rights of historically marginalized groups, including women, children, indigenous peoples, displaced persons. 13. Refugees, persons living with HIV/AIDS, and the disabled. Prosecute to the fullest extent of the law any reported violation of economic, social, and cultural rights, especially with regard to child labor, workplace and industrial safety standards, forced evictions, minimum wage, the environment, and food security. Tie NPC's planned spending reduction for security forces to an increase in funding for the implementation of economic, social, and cultural rights. Education, education is a right, not a privilege. NPC will finally make education a priority, opening the doors of learning to all Rwandans. NPC will encourage a culture of learning and teaching and will introduce a curriculum that promotes both technical skills and humane ideals. NPC will foster a culture of learning, teaching, and service. Introduce one education system that provides 10 years of free and compulsory education for all children. Utilize all existing school facilities. Build additional classrooms and repair and modernize inadequate facilities. Employ a pupil's workbook and deliver textbooks for all students within the first year. Provide for mother tongue instruction in the students' language of choice. Establish a national bursary fund and student loan system for higher education. Establish an adult literacy program. Reintegrate teens back into the school system who have not completed their education. Implement preschool educare. Provide special assistance to women in the education sector. Ensure that no student is excluded from a public school due to an inability to pay. 14. Ensure that school resources are more equitably spread throughout the country. Limit class size to ensure an effective student-teacher ratio. Press ahead with the national schools building programs to meet increasing demand, with a specific focus on improving infrastructure in rural areas and townships. Raise the quality of school leadership teams by strengthening administrative capacity and ensuring parental involvement. Integrate adult basic education and training with skills development to improve access to educational and employment opportunities within the national qualifications framework. Prioritize the development of a national plan and funding system for higher education while eliminating waste in this sector. Embark on specialized education that is useful for Rwanda and the African continent. Reduce years in the classroom and expand years in the field to build technical skills and provide students with real-world experience. Modernize technical and vocational education. Emphasize subjects relevant to success in the Rwanda of today and tomorrow: economics, business, science, technology, and personnel management, ensuring that the next generation of workers has the tools and training to succeed. Focus on the positive, uniting differences of culture. Energy, NPC will invest extensively in hydroelectric and renewable energies to facilitate true energy independence and security for Rwanda. NPC's energy policy will focus on the reduction of environmental degradation as a comprehensive part of meeting the country's energy needs. NPC will lead Rwanda into the green future, enticing clean energy investors into the country and bringing high-tech jobs to the Rwandan. 15. People. Environment. NPC will invest in creating a green Rwanda, not only to protect the environment but also to establish an economy that is as viable today as it will be 100 years from now. Every Rwandan has a duty to safeguard the environment for future generations. Families and children. NPC will establish cultural laws to protect families, especially women and children, as this will strengthen the familial bond and provide greater peace and stability in our society. Food security. NPC will establish community-based produce warehouses for stocking harvests locally. NPC will also assist small-scale farmers by providing opportunities for training and increasing their access to credit and markets. Restructure development agencies and marketing boards to better serve farmers and consumers. Healthcare. NPC seeks to guarantee basic healthcare to all Rwandans, emphasizing preventative care. NPC will assess the current distribution of health resources and ensure that rural Areas in poverty-stricken communities are covered in equal measure as the wealthier and urban parts of Rwanda. Further, NPC's health program will provide free health services in all national hospitals, make medicines more affordable, direct major resources at combating tuberculosis, malaria, HIV/AIDS, sexually transmitted diseases, cancer, and other plagues. Facilitate the integration of traditional health practices as a complement to modern medicine. Develop a comprehensive, affordable, and accessible national public health system, financed by a social health. Comment AP1. 16. Insurance program. Eliminate RPF's mandatory health contributions, which place an undue burden Rwanda's poorest citizens. Improve the availability of doctors and nurses, especially at rural clinics. Ensure the availability and affordability of medicine, in line with our national drug policy. Improve the management of hospitals and dispensaries. Develop campaigns against drug, tobacco, and alcohol related illnesses. Draw from our culture's traditions to promote abstinence before marriage as an effective way of strengthening marriages and preventing unintended pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections. Give extensive support to couples who will test virginity before their wedding. Review existing laws to ensure that health status is never the basis for discrimination in Rwanda. Housing. All Rwandans deserve to have their basic needs met, including the right to call a secure, comfortable, sheltered place home. Following NPC's implementation of land reforms, NPC will implement a 5-year plan to assist in the building of 2 million new homes, provide running water and flush toilets to over 2 million families, electrify 5 million rural and urban homes, make an honest agreement with the private sector and trade unions to better channel investments into the housing sector, develop housing on well-located land near areas of economic activity, overcoming the apartheid-like human settlement patterns of so-called group areas, improve and speed up the housing subsidy program to better uplift housing conditions for the urban poor in informal settlements. Comment AP2. 17. Loosen credit for housing financing, especially through microloans. Reduce homelessness by increase the availability of rental units through housing subsidies, service-enriched housing, and by removing administrative barriers to home loans. Support the people's housing process, setting up housing support centers to help poor people build their own houses, share resources, and purchase affordable housing materials. Institute rent control. Land reform. Rwanda belongs to all Rwandans. NPC will implement several key land reform initiatives to maximize production and opportunity for all. NPC will guarantee women meaningful and equal rights and access to land, strengthen the security of land tenure, provide restitution to victims of forced removals through the establishment of a land claims court, assess the current status of state-owned land to determine whether portions of that land would be more useful in the hands of private citizens, either through sale or short-term lease. Review current restrictions on land ownership to create more farmable land and to increase food security and employment. Public Works. NPC's main focus will be to ensure that the prosperity so readily on display in Kigali will reach the most remote rural homesteads of Rwanda. To accomplish this, NPC will introduce a rural development program to quickly modernize key infrastructure, while also providing increased job opportunities for Rwanda's rural citizens. NPC will focus on hiring locally available workers so that communities benefit not just from better services but also from increased employment. The Rural Development Program will strengthen. 18. The provision of those services critical to the survival of a nation and its people: water, electricity, healthcare, schools, waste management, telecommunications, and roads, because a working Rwanda is a healthy Rwanda. Refugees and the right of return. NPC will repatriate all Rwandan refugees, putting an end to the genocide-fueled diaspora that has scattered Rwanda's people across the globe. Transportation. NPC will develop and promote an integrated public transport system, which will include special assistance for the disabled. NPC will build and rehabilitate public transport infrastructure while empowering historically disadvantaged operators, ensuring greater order in this sector. NPC will also construct a modern transportation infrastructure, essential for a dynamic and entrepreneurial economy. Rwanda will lead the charge to link the region through express railway lines, providing Rwandans with better access to seaports and the regional economy. National defense. NPC will seek to guarantee the security of every tribe by building an ethnically based distribution of power within the armed forces in order to safeguard our national security. Specifically, NPC will ensure that the armed forces and other security organs are comprised of 40% Hutu, 40% Tutsi, 15% TWA, and 5% of other ethnicities. NPC will support the deploying of troops only in instances where Rwanda's own borders and people are threatened. NPC will otherwise remain neutral with regard to conflicts in neighboring nations, providing only humanitarian support to conflict victims. NPC is a peaceful movement that will seek to resolve all disputes through peaceful means. NPC pledges to ensure that our armed forces will always have the support they need and that veterans and their families are treated with the dignity they deserve. Neutrality. NPC supports Comment AP3. Comment AP4. 19. Welfare and pensions. NPC will introduce a new plan to care for children, senior citizens, the disabled, the hungry, and victims of violence. NPC will implement a program targeted to meet the basic needs of the homeless, as well as orphans and other vulnerable children. NPC will ensure that pensions are adequately funded to provide for the full needs of the elderly. NPC will establish and manage distributions of social grants for Rwanda's most vulnerable groups. Put systems in place to eliminate fraud and corruption. 20. Democracy. Our pledge. NPC is a political organization seeking political change through political means. NPC is founded with the explicit goal of bringing a truly free, open, and transparent democracy to Rwanda. NPC envisions a Rwanda that operates on principles of equality, pluralism, and accountability. Affirmative action. Opportunities must be opened for all who have suffered past discrimination, including returned refugees, political party members not a part of the so-called RPF revolution, former military and police officers who served honorably under previous regimes, casualties of war, and genocide survivors. NPC will ensure that any Rwandan who wants to live, work, or flourish in Rwanda has the opportunity to do so. Civil liberties. NPC shall guarantee freedom of speech, association, and freedom of religion. Ensure the freedom to travel, abolishing all past laws or other restrictions that prevent Rwandans from moving freely within their country. Protect the privacy of the house from police raids through legislation that requires police to obtain a warrant from a neutral magistrate before entering a home. Enforce the equal application and protection of the law. Set a minimum age at which an individual may begin to work, safeguarding against exploitative labor practices. Guarantee everyone the right to criticize and petition their government. Ensure that no one is arbitrarily deprived of their Comment AP 5. Comment AP 6. Comment AP 7. 21. Property. Uphold the right to a free press at all times. The Constitution, although the 2003 Constitution enshrines many of the same principles and ideals discussed here, it remains an underutilized and underenforced document under RPF leadership. The current regime has failed to enforce the many protections contained within the Constitution. NPC wants to ensure that the rights granted to the people equal protection, free press, political freedom, and many others are fully realized. NPC will create a constitutional advisory panel comprised of representatives from all tribes, geographical regions, and socio-economic classes to assess how the Constitution is functioning. This panel will provide NPC with recommendations to better realize the Constitution's full potential, as well as amendments worth full consideration by Parliament, the executive branch, and the people of Rwanda. NPC will also seek consideration of the following constitutional issues. Article 61. NPC will seek to change the language of the oath to include declarations to fight corruption, serve the community, hold public meetings in one's constituency at least 4 times per year, and to live in the community from which the official is elected. Term limits. NPC will seek to enact the following term limits. ONACO, 3 6-year terms. O legislators, 2 6-year terms. O judicial officers, 2 7-year terms. O executive branch members, 2 6-year terms. O other agencies, 3 4-year terms. O lower councils, 3 4-year terms. Corruption. NPC will enforce strict measures, without fear or favor, to root out corruption, nepotism, and bribery in the public and private sectors, in our own organization, and in Comment AP 8. Comment AP 9. 22. Society as a whole. NPC will remove those who seek to enrich themselves at the expense of the people. Government under NPC will be a meritocracy, where the best ideas and hardest workers rise to the top on the basis of their abilities. NPC will establish a public body to oversee the creation and operation of a private anti-corruption unit, whose members will be replaced every 2 years. Create an independent commission against corruption, which will be as powerful as the corruption it seeks to eradicate and will function independently to promote honesty and integrity in all spheres of public and private conduct. Introduce effective policing of international ports of entry to prevent smuggling of goods and people. Work in partnership with religious communities and other sectors to strengthen the moral fiber of Rwandan society. Elections. NPC plans to radically innovate the election process. Thorpe a localized council system in order to promote free and fair elections and curtail corruption. NPC's National Congress of Specialized Councils, NACO, proposal increases the efficiency of elections, reduces costs, and provides opportunities for local people to play a greater role in Rwanda's future. Most importantly, though, NPC's proposal regulates excessive power residing in a single individual. 4. More information on NPC's proposal for a national Congress. See Appendix 1. Ethnicity. NPC, like all Rwandans, wants a society and a government where success is determined on merit alone. All of Rwanda's tribes wish to live in harmony, without divisions predicated on race or ethnicity. NPC opposes ethnic-grounded politics and ethnic-centered mass mobilization campaigns. Comment AP10. Comment AP11. 23. NPC will repeal the genocide ideology law, which unduly restricts freedom of expression and has been used as a political weapon. NPC will fight for an end to the social, political, and economic monopoly of any one tribe. NPC opposes ethnic identification cards or anything with a similar effect. NPC also opposes the quota system in all spheres of public life. NPC, however, recognizes the importance of affirming one's unique heritage, and therefore supports positive expressions of ethnic recognition, personal identity, and respect for differences, which play a critical part in the reconciliation process. Foreign Affairs, NPC will be an active member of the global community, seizing each and every opportunity to promote our national interests abroad. NPC will lead Rwanda into becoming a key player in the values of freedom, fairness and responsibility. Freedom of the press, a free media is essential to a flourishing democracy. NPC will do everything in its power to protect the rights of journalists to report the news and stories that they see fit to discuss, without fear of retribution or criminal prosecution. Too many caveats contained in Article 34 of the Constitution allow the state to silence this critical institution. This censorship must end. Immigration, NPC will seek to enrich our culture and strengthen our economy by simplifying immigration laws for the citizens of other countries with whom we share interests and values. Justice, NPC will establish a court system that reflects society's ethnic and gender composition, providing fairness and equality for all. Detention without trial will be done away with. The justice system will be more accessible and more affordable. NPC will introduce a law that protects all Rwandans from any form of abuse. NPC will build a fairer society, free from identification by wealth, age, gender, tribe, race, religion. Comment AP12. Comment AP13. Comment AP14. Comment AP15. Comment AP16. Comment AP17. 24. Sexuality, size, and color. Local government, NPC will transform local government by introducing new organizational structures that engage people in each geographic area to act collectively. NPC will govern from the bottom up, giving all people the opportunity to exercise their right to participate in the democratic process. NPC will restructure local government boundaries to make them financially viable. Establish statutory ward committees so that councillors are more responsive to their constituencies. Transform municipalities into idea centers for democracy, economic development, and service delivery. Ensure that all candidates for local government are empowered and responsive to their constituents. Give local communities a share in local growth. Free local governments from centralized control, returning it to the people. Give local communities more power over the central government. Give people the ability to determine spending priorities. Create a council of professionals and experts to represent local communities at the regional level. Return power and money to local communities to implement community-based projects. The monarchy, the NPC, like all the tribes of Rwanda, supports the return of its king and the father of the nation. NPC, however, does not support a monarchical system. NPC will repatriate the king and reintegrate him with his people, reinstating him as the king of tribes and culture and helping him to reclaim his traditional heritage as another means of promoting reconciliation and fair treatment for all Rwandans. NPC will consult with the masses as to how best to reintegrate the king and to what extent, if any, he should be involved in. Comment AP18. 25. State Affairs. National Congress of Specialized Councils, NACO NPC, plans to restructure government based on the principle of local expertise, utilizing a National Congress of Specialized Councils, NACO, to directly elect parliamentarians, removing the right of direct election for parliament from the hands of the people. Rwandan villages shall form district councils of experts. These district councils will come together to elect representatives to their respective regional councils. These regional councils will then choose members of NACO. NACO will be responsible for the selection and election of all members of parliament. NACO will be the only entity with the power to nominate presidential candidates, who will then be elected through a popular vote of the people. NACO also will be responsible for making all judicial appointments. For more details on NACO, see Appendix 1. National Government, NPC's aim is to build a state in which ordinary citizens have the opportunity to play an active role. NPC will develop efficient, user-friendly, and accountable governance standards, reorganize the public service to more effectively deliver services by establishing a public service commission within NACO responsible for appointments, increasing efficiency and effectiveness, ensuring a minimum code of conduct for public services, and introducing an affirmative action program to eliminate historical inequalities in employment. Charge all public institutions with the task of best utilizing their resources and skills to bring about open, accountable government. Ensure that local newspapers and radio and TV stations fulfill their role in reconstruction and development. Issue regular public reports detailing Rwanda's. Comment AP19. Comment AP20. 26. Finances, along with a clear accounting of government programs and resources. An open society, NPC will strive to achieve an open society by encouraging vigorous debate. People must be free to express their views without fear, including criticizing the government. Governance under NPC will be characterized by transparency and openness. The public should always be free to question and test the ideas and actions that their government takes. NPC will open the doors of public bodies, allowing ordinary citizens a chance to meaningfully participate in government year-round, not just at the ballot box. NPC will do everything in its power to assist the public in holding its politicians and public bodies accountable. As the Constitution provides, all the power derives from the people. NPC will bring meaning to these words by ensuring that the Rwandan people have the information necessary to exercise that power. Ensuring that Rwanda is a government of the people, for the people. Political reform, we will cooperate with the masses, local politicians, experts, civil societies, interest groups and development partners to bring greater transparency and accountability to Rwanda's political system. NPC will govern based on the will of the people. NPC will seek creative solutions, welcoming any idea that may bring a brighter future to Rwanda. NPC holds no prejudice to agents of change and development in the country. We will put an immediate end to the attacks on opposition political groups and institute true multi-party democracy in Rwanda, ending years of tyrannical rule by the RPF. NPC will end the ban that prevents politicians from running for office if they have been sentenced to a prison term of 6 months or more, as this has been used as a political tool to disqualify opposition candidates. Safeguard the right to vote for all Rwandans. 27. Allow any person regardless of political affiliation to stand for elections. Ensure that all positions of power are subject to democratic selection and control. Power sharing. Any government in which NPC will establish or take part must be willing to honor Article 9(3) of the Constitution of Rwanda, equitable sharing of power across the three branches of government, as well as in Rwanda's security forces. NPC is an inclusive movement will apply principles of power sharing to all political actors duly elected by the people. 28. The economy. Our pledge. NPC understands that economic success drives the kind of socio-economic programs detailed in this agreement. NPC, therefore, will focus heavily on economic development as a means of lifting Rwanda's poorest citizens out of poverty and creating financial incentives for investment in the country. The source of Rwanda's strength is our nation's unique culture, beliefs, language, and work ethic. By harnessing our shared passion for success, together we can build a growing economy that will allow us to provide job opportunities, housing stability, and educational access for all. Banking. NPC will promote borrowing and lending by simplifying securities, interests, and method of payment, while maintaining sustainable banking practices conducive to a stable, opportunity-driven banking sector. NPC will establish a stable ownership structure and efficient management of banks by consolidating state-owned banks and other state-owned enterprises. Modify regulations and support innovative financial institutions and instruments that mobilize private domestic savings to help fund community projects. Implement a systemic anti-crisis measure to prevent financial collapse. Review the government's debt portfolio and ensure that funds held by the government, on behalf of the Rwandan people, are properly managed. Centralize and reduce government borrowing by establishing a public finance agency to monitor public debts and promote decency in public borrowing by establishing guidelines and guarantees for public borrowing, manage risks, and control the use of public finances. Comment AP21. 29. Ensure normal operation of the secondary securities market by pricing government bonds to stabilize the price of new borrowing on the primary securities market. Consumer protection. NPC will protect consumers against any form of exploitation by establishing an official tariff and check method and by creating an environment conducive for competition. NPC will create a consumer watchdog agency to protect consumers from unfair lending practices. Deficit reduction. NPC will control government debt by managing reckless spending and ensuring that taxpayer money is spent responsibly. NPC will promote an open-end, transparent government founded on accountability. Foreign investment. NPC will use our embassies to exchange labor services for money as a means of reducing dependence on foreign aid and as an opportunity to contribute our resources to the development of other countries. The same will help Rwanda. Free trade. NPC supports regionally based free trade initiatives to promote growth in the East African economy as a whole. Immigration. NPC will seek to enrich our culture and strengthen our economy by simplifying immigration laws for citizens of other countries with whom we share common interests and values. NPC will introduce immigration reforms that simplify the issuance of visas and permits to foreigners who meet our economic, social, and cultural needs. Infrastructure. Economic success for individual Rwandans will only occur if the state helps to create an environment where innovation can succeed. NPC will ensure that Rwanda's Infrastructure, roads and railways, access to seaports, and Comment AP22. Comment AP23. Comment AP24. Comment AP25. 30. Telecommunications are modern and fully operational. Jobs, unemployment is NPC's first priority. All Rwandans who want to work should have the opportunity to do so. Employment reduces the strain on government to provide social support, freeing up resources to focus on the elderly, marginalized, and disabled. NPC will hold summits in all sectors to develop job strategies. Institute a mass public works programs and youth brigades. Optimize taxes, procurement, and monetary policy for job creation. Integrate regional development. Increase opportunities for self-employment, cooperatives, and small businesses through tax cuts. Designed to encourage hiring and new small business ventures. Target skills training for the unemployed, with an eye toward labor export. Modernize employment services. Invest in human resources development. Monetary policy. NPC will adopt a loose monetary policy to keep Treasury securities affordable and bring more money into the economy. NPC will lower short-term interest rates to encourage banks to lend money more freely. NPCs will establish a monetary policy to guide the central bank in regulating banks, operating the national payment system, and to comply with internationally approved monetary standards. Peace. NPC recognizes that lasting peace is a prerequisite for true prosperity. For too long the divisions of the past have threatened our economic success. NPC will do everything in its power to promote a peaceful existence so that all Rwandans are free to open businesses, innovate, and explore, operating freely in the marketplace without fear or retribution. 31. Private sector investment. NPC will support labor-intensive investment throughout our economy, as well as sectors that have large employment potential, such as tourism, manufacturing, agriculture, and the extraction and refinement of raw materials. NPC will create incentives to encourage foreign and domestic investment in job-creating activities. Implement measures to discourage overdependence on short-term capital flows and speculative investment. Regulatory structure. NPC will seek to enhance Rwanda's status as a destination for doing business. NPC will seek to liberalize the economy by minimizing bureaucracy and easing the flow of commerce and capital into the country. Small businesses. NPC will create more job opportunities by making it easier for people to start their own businesses. NPC will change licensing laws, provide training and access to small businesses, with a particular focus on empowering women to participate more fully in the Rwandan economy. Taxation. NPC will ensure that Rwanda has an efficient and fair tax system that develops people and the country economically. NPC will institute a comprehensive review of the current tax system to ensure basic fairness for the average citizen and business owner. NPC will reduce the number and amount of taxes, establish a better way of identifying and controlling taxes through the creation of the Private Tax Investigation and Control Agency, a periodically privatized revenue department. Create a tax environment that attracts investors and gives them the flexibility to operate within the Rwandan community. Abolish VAT on all basic foods, textile products, and capital ventures. Comment AP26. Comment AP27. Comment AP28. Comment AP29. 32. Review income taxes. Review taxation of married women and singles. Restructure tax collection to make it more efficient. Ensure that every business pays its fair share. Dedicate any tax funds that exceed government spending for that year to social service programs. Lower capital gains taxes. Workers' rights. NPC will promote and defend the rights of the workers and will outlaw all workplace discrimination by introducing an equal employment opportunity policy that bars state or private institutions from employment discrimination based on ethnicity, sexual origin, political affiliation, gender identity, marital status, disability, and genetic information, ethnicity, age, membership in an employee organization, or other non-merit-based factors. Establish and protect quality employment standards, including maternity and child care rights. Introduce specialized training for the unemployed, especially youth and women. Promote centralized bargaining and strong trade unions. Guarantee the right to strike and peaceful demonstrate. Raise and enforce standards of health and safety. 33. International relations. Our pledge, NPC pledges to comply with principles of democratic good governance as characterized by transparency, honesty, and integrity. NPC will be open and fair, respecting differences and promoting peace and tolerance in dealing with other states. NPC will. The African continent, NPC shall have no room for global conflict, as our mission is to plant the seeds of peace and bring healing to the African community and to the global community. NPC pledges to take an active role in the continent's interests, ensuring that it is safe, peaceful, and prosperous place to live, work, and raise a family. NPC envisions an Africa free from conflicts and equipped to face the unique challenges of the modern world. Democracy, freedom, and human rights. NPC will ensure that Rwanda takes its rightful place among international actors, advancing freedom and self-determination. Under NPC, Rwanda will assist in the campaign for democracy, human rights, peace, and the sovereignty of states. NPC will seek to ratify all regional and international agreements that protect human rights, especially those concerning the rights of women and children. NPC will also cooperate fully with human rights groups, both inside and outside of Rwanda's borders. East Africa, NPC will build closer cooperation and economic integration in the region. NPC will take an active role in the East African community and in the African Union. NPC will work with other states in the region to ensure peace, security, and the mutual benefits of trade. International treaties, NPC will consult with civil society. 34. Organizations with regard to international treaties, including Rwanda's vote for the nomination and election of members of the African Commission and judges on the African Court on Human and People's Rights. NPC will also seek to implement the following international documents by ratifying them and implementing domestic legislation enshrining those rights, including the Declaration on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 2004, Declaration of the World Summit on Sustainable Development, 2002, Declaration of World Conference Against Racism, Racial Discrimination, Xenophobia, and Related Intolerance, 2001, the 10 Commitments Declaration on Social Development of Copenhagen, 1995, Resolutions from the UN Conference on Sustainable Development from the Earth Summit, Rio, 1992, Resolutions from the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, Stockholm, 1972. Peace and Development, NPC will promote peace and development to foster democratic systems, a respect for human rights, and to end corruption on our continent. NPC will act decisively to promote peace in the region and Africa as a whole by adhering to regional peace and security agreements and abiding by resolutions of the UN Security Council concerning regional peace and stability, campaign for a better managed global economy, including the restructuring of international financial and trade institutions, to make them more sensitive to the needs of developing countries, especially those in Africa. 35. Advocate strongly for debt relief for the world's poorest countries. Promote fair trade, investment, and development. Support fair labor standards and environmental regulations that help level the playing field in a globalizing workplace. Rwandan culture. NPC is proud of Rwanda and its unique history and culture. NPC will honor our shared heritage by ensuring that cultural studies and sports have a firm place in our schools. NPC will also share our culture with the rest of the world through cultural exchanges, diplomatic relations, state visits, and immigration policy negotiations with foreign states. 36. Safety and security. Our pledge, NPC will facilitate a peaceful and secure environment in which people can live without fear of individuals or their government. Armed Forces. NPC will oversee a reorganization of Rwanda's armed forces to establish more checks and balances within our power structures. Under NPC, the army will be on a strictly volunteer basis. No Rwandan shall be compelled to serve if he or she does not wish to do so, and the army's powers will be strictly limited to the nation's defense. The military will no longer be used to police domestic matters or interfere in politics. Further, the army will serve as a training ground for our nation's youth, honing their technical and service skills. NPC will also help guarantee the security of every tribe by building an armed force comprised of all tribes to collectively safeguard our national security. Lastly, NPC pledges to ensure that our armed forces have the support they need and that veterans are treated with the dignity that they deserve. Crime. NPC will root out the underlying causes of crime, such as poverty, food insecurity, and inequality. NPC will also establish tougher laws protecting Rwandans from violent crimes that target people based on tribal affiliation, gender, or age. Prioritize the prosecution of domestic violence by establishing specialized courts to handle these cases. Create a victim empowerment program to safeguard and support crime victims. Comment AP30. 37. Introduce tougher gun control legislation. Reform criminal sentencing by implement harsher sentences for serious crimes, but alternative sentences for petty ones, including non-incarceration options such as electronic home monitoring systems for certain crimes and offenders. Ensure that no person with a criminal history is eligible to become a police officer. Review working conditions for police officers and review their training programs, investigative capacity, housing, and supplies. Transform all elements of the criminal justice system, the police, the courts, the prisons, and prosecution system to reflect Rwanda's commitment to human rights and ensuring fair due process of law. Form specialized police task forces to target organized criminal activity. Reserve jails and prisons for serious crimes only and institute a rehabilitative model of justice instead of a punitive one. Reduce street crimes by controlling markets for used goods. National security. NPC will establish a safe and secure environment for all Rwandans, ensuring stable security institutions and by restoring Rwanda's territorial integrity. Peace. NPC will finance a peace program within government NPC will oversee a government where all Rwandans are free to seek redress. NPC will look to resolve disputes at their earliest stages, and its government of inclusiveness should help to validate the importance of every Rwandan, not just those. Comment AP31. Comment AP32. Comment AP33. 38. Affiliated with a particular political party or ethnic group. Policing. To protect Rwanda's internal security, NPC will start at the community level, ensuring safety, neighborhood by neighborhood. NPC will emphasize preventative policing, asking officers to identify and resolve community issues before they escalate into criminal conduct or aggression. Rwanda's shared prosperity can only become a reality once all Rwandans recognize that we need one another to survive and to succeed. This shared dependence extends to all spheres of our political, social, and economic existence as citizens of Rwanda. NPC's long-term goal is to reduce the size of the police force as criminal activity wanes. Reconciliation. NPC believes that Rwanda has not completed the healing process from our genocide. NPC promises to be a leader in the process that will allow all Rwandans to properly grieve and heal, to forgive and reconcile, and to look toward a future of genuine unity and tolerance. NPC will provide a space in which all Rwandans can ask for forgiveness for the role they may have played in crimes committed against another. Bring to an end any pending genocide and war crime cases. Protect tribal identity, but one that exists without fear of discrimination or a denial of rights and privileges. Root out any tribal-based practices that infringe on the rights of another, including Uburitwe/Ubuake. Provide unconditional support for the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda and the United Nations mechanism for criminal tribunals to carry out their mandate and complete prosecution of the Rwandan genocide's most heinous perpetrators. 39. Gacaca Courts. Rwanda's national courts, reform the national courts so that they no longer function as a tool that serves the RPF regime, but rather a neutral arbiter open to the needs of all Rwandans. National Unity and Reconciliation Program, NPC, recognizes the need for continued unity and reconciliation as the current program has fallen far short. NPC will push forward a true and meaningful reconciliation process, first by earning the Rwandan people's trust. NPC is an inclusive organization that integrates members of all tribes. Its founding members did not participate in previous conflicts or crimes. NPC will create a healing environment to restore confidence and trust in Rwanda's government of the future. Terrorism. We shall join the international community in its fight against terrorism, particularly with regard to weapons of mass destruction. NPC will adhere to the provision of the International Criminal Court and will cooperate fully with international bodies that seek to secure peace in this world. Comment AP34. Comment AP35. Comment AP36. 40. Conclusion. NPC is a coalition committed to advancing democracy and freedom within Rwanda's borders. NPC believes that the key to unlocking Rwanda's full potential is to create a free and open environment in which each and every Rwandan has the tools and opportunity to succeed. Rwandans must be free to make the political, social, and economic choices that they think best. NPC will promote political inclusiveness and tolerance, respect for Rwanda's constitution and laws, and will encourage the peaceful resolution of differences in political and social spheres. NPC will put people first. NPC will invest in jobs, secure housing, and quality education. NPC will unlock Rwanda's true economic potential by providing the infrastructure, tax scheme, and regulatory environment to help local businesses grow in a sustainable way and attract foreign investment. NPC will provide a social safety net for those unable to provide for their own basic needs and will establish a reconstruction fund to atone for the wounds still unhealed from our genocidal past. NPC will also seek out international aid and loans to empower Rwanda to more quickly reach its full capacity. A Rwandan government under NPC will be a safe and secure one, free of political prosecutions, where Rwandans resolve differences through dialogue, truth, and reconciliation. 41. Part 2, the Coalition Agreement. 42. Preamble. Whereas the signatories to this agreement are members of the 3 tribes of Rwanda. Whereas each tribe still feels the negative effects of Rwanda's past and present political ills. Whereas the parties share the common interest of achieving peace, unity, and reconciliation. Whereas each party to this agreement wishes to come together and have an equal seat at the table. Whereas the parties share the common goal of creating a political force to liberate all Rwandans and establish a true democratic government of the people. Whereas the parties agree to design and maintain a strong coalition open to all Rwandans that engages people of different backgrounds and viewpoints to achieve long-term political stability and success. Whereas the coalition partners seek to form a collective political force capable of bringing lasting political solutions to Rwanda's political problems. Whereas the parties are authorized by the coalition agreement to negotiate on behalf of this movement. Whereas the coalition partners have the rights and authority in this agreement to act for the purposes described in the contents of this agreement. We, the founding coalition partners, do hereby agree to work together, in good faith and for common cause, under the banner of the national people's concern. 43. Article 1, the Coalition Agreement. 1. The Coalition Agreement is the founding document of NPC, and, as such, no other document produced or promulgated by NPC or its partners or members shall supersede the terms contained in this document. 2. Amendment. The Coalition Agreement may be amended by unanimous vote of NPC partners and shall take effect 6 months after approval. 3. The Coalition Agreement shall be subject to annual review by the Consultative Committee of NPC, which will issue recommendations. 4. Termination of this agreement shall occur via unanimous vote of all NPC partners. Article 2, Organizational Structure. 1. Consultative Committee. 2. Strategic Committee. 2.1 The Strategic Committee shall establish national action plans, which set out benchmark indicators for the progressive realization of social, economic, and cultural rights. 3. Finance Committee. 3.1 The Finance Committee shall be responsible for NPC's annual budget and expenditures. The committee shall be open and transparent, ensuring that NPC's budgetary processes are consultative and reviewable by its members and partners. 4. Public Relations Spokesperson. 4.1 NPC's Public Relations Spokesperson is the only person authorized to comment publicly on behalf of NPC. Other members and partners of NPC are not encouraged to speak on behalf of the NPC without comment AP37, comment AP38, comment AP39, comment AP40, comment AP41, comment AP42. 44. NPC's prior written authorization. 5. Executive Council. 6. Coalition Assembly/General Council. 7. Secretariat. 8. NPC shall be free to form any other committees, subcommittees, or other internal organizations as it sees fit to best manage the organization's affairs and attain its goals. Article 3, Decision Making. 1. Consensus in voting. 1.1 By its very nature, NPC seeks to bring together many voices into one. Decisions will be made in accordance with the will of NPC's members and partners, and consensus is always the first priority. This coalition requires all of its members to come to the table with an open mind and clear heart, to trust and respect one another, and to work in good faith towards our common goals. Where consensus cannot be reached, decisions shall be made by majority vote. 2. Meetings and reporting. 2.1 Partners will meet/confer at least once a month for the purposes of program planning and monitoring, evaluating outcomes, and to review and ensure that each entity is in compliance with this agreement. 2.2 The Coalition Congress shall meet at least once each calendar year and not more than 18 months after the previous meeting. An extraordinary meeting of the Coalition Congress may be called by the chairperson or by any 50 members, provided there is at least 10 days notice given. Article 4, Finances. 1. NPC will seek funds and materials from partners, members, donors, development and aid organizations, individuals, and any other willing person or entity that wishes to see a free and democratic Rwanda. Comment AP43. Comment AP44. Comment AP45. 45. 2. The Coalition Congress may set annual membership fees. 3. NPC members will be expected to support NPC fundraising programs and initiates through donations, time, and/or other resources. Article 5, Partnership and Membership. 1. The signatories to this document are the founding coalition partners. 2. Any other interested party from individuals to organizational entities may join NPC's ranks. 2.1 Individual membership. Persons that wish to join NPC may do so by applying for membership directly to NPC, subject to approval by NPC's leadership. 2.1.1 Members of all tribes and individuals from all backgrounds are encouraged to apply for membership. 2.1.2 Withdrawal of membership shall occur with 6 months written notice. 2.2 Organizational partnership. Entities that wish to partner with NPC may do so by executing a membership agreement specific to that entity, detailing the nature and extent of that partner's involvement in the movement. 2.2.1 NPC partners shall have equal rights, equal share, and equal say in the operations and direction of NPC. 2.2.2 Withdrawal of partnership shall occur with 6 months written notice. 2.3 Equal participation. NPC as an organizational structure will constantly seek to balance its ranks with members of all tribes and from all backgrounds, and to share organizational power amongst all groups, including in its leadership positions, subject, of course, to the results of elections. 2.4 A party or member to this agreement shall cease to be a member of the coalition in the event of death. 46. Resignation, expulsion, or non-renewal of membership. 3. Any agreement entered into by another party with NPC does not come into full force until a majority of NPC partners have acceded to it, by signature or vote. Article 6, Resources. 1. Equipment. Any and all property acquired by NPC through purchase, donation, loan, or otherwise, shall form part of NPC's wealth and shall be controlled by the NPC property management team in a place known to all NPC members. 2. Intellectual property. All ideas, individual artwork, writing, composition or other work fairly characterized as intellectual property shall remain the property of the Individual creator unless NPC purchases that work. 3 publications, all written materials not produced from paid consultancy or employment for NPC shall continue to belong to the creator until the ownership is purchased in full. 4 inventions, contributions, and acknowledgements. 4.1 Whenever possible, NPC shall recognize and reward those individuals and organizations that have made substantial and lasting contributions to NPC and its mission and effectiveness. Comment AP46. Comment AP47. Comment AP48. Comment AP49. 47. Hereby agreed to and signed by Richard R. Kayamba. Mandate for National Salvation, MESID. Date. Development and Progressive Party. Diplopa. Date. Union du Peuple Rwandais, UPR. Date.